Viewers, look at those pictures. They were from a time ago when things were great between India and the United States. But viewers, the tone is changing. It has moderated noticeably after relations hit a trough. US President Donald Trump has sent a second message to Prime Minister Modi full of endearments and without a trace of the bitterness that we've heard before. This morning, very early in the morning, India time around 3 a.m., he expressed optimism that he and his good friend Modi would get on a call very soon and firm up a trade deal for both our countries. Without getting carried away, as Trump is fickle and unreliable, the fact that he has emphasized on the word both gives, if nothing else, cause for optimism that at the very least the two sides remain engaged, that they at least are conversing, that the iciness that we detect through the words is only at the surface. Behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. This is what Donald Trump said at 3 a.m. this morning when he put out this post on Truth Social. He said, quote, "I'm pleased to announce that India and the United States of America are continuing negotiations to address the trade barriers between our two nations. I look forward to speaking with my very good friend, Prime Minister Modi, in the upcoming weeks. I feel certain that there will be no difficulty in coming to a successful conclusion for both of our great countries," unquote. Viewers, a few days ago, Trump was also heard dialing down the rhetoric even further in this exchange with an ANI reporter. You get the sense. Let's listen in.
And are you ready to reset relations with India at this point?
I always will. I'll always be friends with Modi. He's great. Prime Minister, he's great. I'll always be friends, but I just don't like what he's doing at this particular moment. But India and the United States have a special relationship. There's nothing to worry about.
Now, viewers, Donald Trump's second outreach to New Delhi in about a gap of 3 or 4 days is no accident. It is the outcome of sustained, quiet engagement. Prime Minister Modi's response invoking, quote, "natural partnership," unquote, reflects a calculated steadiness, neither triumphalism nor submission, but reassurance. And this is what Narendra Modi tweeted this morning in response to Trump's message on Truth Social. And he said, viewers, this is very important. And this particular message is very, very different from the others. So I'm going to read it out. India and the US are close friends and natural partners. I'm confident that our trade negotiations will pave the way for unlocking the limitless potential of the India-US partnership. Our teams are working to conclude these discussions at the earliest. I'm also looking forward to speaking with President Trump. We will work together to secure a brighter, more prosperous future for both our people. Viewers, this response suggests that the Indian Prime Minister is interested in continuing with dialogue. And he lays a huge amount of importance to the partnership, which he says is a natural one. The opposition, of course, served up another round of caustic barbs. Jairam Ramesh said, quote, "Prime Minister Modi has told President Trump that India and the US are natural partners." The question is now this: are they so natural that President Trump has declared on over 35 different occasions that he brought about the India-Pakistan ceasefire on the evening of May 10th using trade as the instrument of leverage, unquote? Arvind Kejriwal, ex-Chief Minister of Delhi, says, and I quote, "What kind of negotiation is going on between the two countries? Only one-sided talks. Keep our farmers, traders and the employment of youth on the line. the Indian market is being completely opened up for the Americans. If the entire Indian market comes under the control of the Americans, where will our people go? Such a surrender is an insult to 1 billion Indians, unquote. Viewers, it is very early days, and it isn't as if Trump is going to suddenly dehyphenate his ties, for example, to Pakistan, for India's sake, or walk back on his mediation claims. But behind the diplomatic shadowboxing, what emerges is a striking fact. In a world where optics dominate, it appears that Modiplomacy has consistently relied on silent diplomacy. Let's open this up, viewers. Let's ask some basic questions without ado. And I want to begin with Suhail Seth, first off the block. Suhail Seth, critics allege surrender, their words, not mine, and one-sided negotiations. Yet, Washington's decision to temper rhetoric even after trade frictions and ceasefire claims points to India's leverage. What would you say?
If you recall, Rahul, on your program, I said a bully is essentially a coward. And you don't always have to respond to everything everyone says. When Narendra Modi remained silent, his silence was seen either as weakness or surrender. Today, you've seen the US president, as he always does, has flip-flopped. B, India is too important a market to ignore, Rahul. Let's go over the facts for a minute. Our total export is 780 billion, of which about 100 billion, actually 80 billion, is to the US. The sectors that are impacted are jewelry, gems, apparel, and services. It's 4.9% of our total export bill. I don't think India could, should, would have surrendered and sacrificed both its sovereignty as well as its respect and reputation in the world. It's not about one-manship. It's not about games. It's not about bring warfare, nothing. It's important to understand that Narendra Modi is playing this from the prism of statesmanship. Trump is playing it from the prism of gamesmanship. And there's an essential difference. And I think today what we have seen, and we needn't jump the gun, we now don't need to get into chest beating saying, see, we told you Trump mar gaya, none of that. I think the maturity and the gravitas with which we must embrace Trump's 3 a.m. post is the same that was evidenced in Narendra Modi's non-desire to respond. It augurs well for both countries. You know, trade negotiations aren't a fight in the park. They're not a bullfight. They have to be taken seriously. They have great repercussions. Finally, I believe, as I said on your program earlier, that it is not just Narendra Modi's victory, if you can call it that. It is a recognition of India's supremacy as a nation, the capabilities of its people, and to my mind, it's a win for India. So we need to park it where it needs to be parked. The fact that you have a leader who's not, getting into every bullfight that's made available to him only adds to the gravitas.
Well, that's important. And let me just take that point forward with Sanjay Jha before I bring in two experts here. Sanjay Jha, imagine, had Modi turned into the fulminating leader that Rahul Gandhi wanted him to be. You remember that speech in Parliament? Would he have seen Trump reaching out or even willing to engage in talks? Would you concede that performative democracy is immature? It's for bullies, as Suhail Seth says, not for statesmen. It's for people who are gamesmen, not statesmen. Even Shashi Tharoor had said, the Prime Minister's energy, and I'm quoting him exactly, dynamism and willingness to engage remains a prime asset for India on the global stage and deserves greater backing, unquote. These were his words. So can you imagine, had we walked into that trap, had the Prime Minister walked into Rahul Gandhi's trap? Now, I don't know if it was a trap or if it is Rahul Gandhi's own impetuosity that forced him to try and goad the Prime Minister, bait him into calling Trump a liar, this, that, the other. I don't know where we would have been. And this clearly marks the difference today between the approach of a mature statesman and perhaps somebody who's still finding his feet in both politics and perhaps even, the statesmanship sweepstakes. Sanjay Jha.
Rahul, good evening. No matter how hard people try, it cannot be denied that Narendra Modi's foreign policy has been a monumental disaster and a mammoth embarrassment for India. Let me just remind people on the panel and your viewers as well that even as we talk, Donald Trump has already told the EU, now whether the EU does it or not, we'll have to wait and see, to impose 100% tariffs on India. So for us to start doing this gloating on, saying that Narendra Modi has been exceptional,
No one is gloating.
it's not just being premature, it's being disingenuous with facts. Now, here is the truth. The truth is that here is a prime minister of our country, with due respects to him, he has a view on foreign policy, who went out there publicly backing President Trump for a re-election. And he believed that his personal chemistry mattered much more than strategic self-interest for both America and India. Donald Trump has shown Mr. Modi the mirror to say, listen, when it comes to my own interest and tariffs across the board applying to many countries, I will do what I want to do in my own interest. So look at the reality of our country. Suhail said, this is the kind of jingoism I want to avoid because data is data. Let me tell you the truth, Rahul.
What jingoism? When you took my name, what jingoism did I?
Well, let me finish without
my
an interruption,
name and
please.
you said I
don't like these
jingoism.
interruptions. This is not fair.
So I want to understand where was I being jingoistic?
Explain your point.
That's my limited question.
That's all he's asking you. Explain your point.
Since you mentioned my name, I'm asking you.
Yeah, India at this point of time has 1.8% share in global merchandise trade. In overall trade, it's 2.4%. In GDP, we are around 3.4%. We got to recognize that you're with a 4 trillion GDP, you're battling against America with a 30 trillion GDP. If anybody ignores this reality, we are living in a fool's paradise.
Sanjay Jha.
The reason
Now
why...
let me come in and just demolish his logic.
Please?
Okay.
Can I finish without both Suhail and you pouncing on me,
I'm not pouncing on anybody.
So,
No, A,
because
we're
I
not
can
pouncing
see,
on you. You're not worthy of our pounce. And B, I thought you had
it's
finished.
disgusting that you're getting so paranoid about me even finishing a sentence.
No,
So
I get upset when you attribute.
Take a deep breath.
I get upset when you attribute things which haven't been stated by me. That's what's upsetting.
Okay,
Nothing.
so now let
I
me
never
carry on.
interfere. I never interrupt. But
Yeah,
when you
anyway.
make, to quote you, bold statements which have no fact and substantiation, it gets me worried. Not because of what you say, but because
Okay,
I
Rahul,
think
since
with
he's
a
taken half of
wise
my
brain
time-
like yours, you haven't
Okay,
understood
let him
what I
finish
said.
his point, and then Suhail said you can respond to
Sure.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm arguing with facts, not hyperbole and rhetoric, right?
Yeah,
so
we
here
are
is
also
the truth,
arguing
Rahul.
with facts. You're not
No,
the
he's
only
interrupting me again.
fact checker in the
He's
world.
interrupting me again.
Don't erect your own statue every
but
time you
let's
look
not.
in the mirror.
Hang on, Sanjay Jha.
Anyway.
This is not a this is not a
Unbelievable.
zero-sum game. There are other people who have their facts. They will bring them to the table.
sure.
Let's
Correct.
not make sweeping statements. Yeah, you
Yeah.
make your point.
Yeah.
No one is
so
stopping
my
you.
point is that America is 20% of India's exports.
Yeah.
Already, by basic conservative estimates, we stand to lose between 30 to 35 billion dollars if the tariffs get from bad to worse. Also remember, Donald Trump realizes that leverage is with him, not with India. India is a big consumer market. That's all we have. And incidentally, even that consumer market is
okay.
more for luxury items.
The point
and
being
not
what?
For the kind of mass production.
The point being
that will
what?
help.
What is
Sorry?
the point that you're getting
The
at?
point
your
I'm
point?
making is that at this point of time, America is breathing down our neck, and we are caught between a rock and
Okay.
a hard place between US and
Viewers,
China.
let me just put
with little
one
room
figure
for
out there.
negotiation. Get
The
real
top
about that.
four, the top five
For the record,
biggest,
Suhail interrupted
excuse me,
for half
the
the
top
time.
5 IT companies in America make 2 lakh crores out of India. That's not an insignificant amount. So this vast gulf that we talk about, this deficit, actually is not a deficit. India is making a lot of money for these people. If tomorrow we were to start squeezing and putting our own tariffs on those services, there would be a problem. And I think Mr. Trump, who had a dinner with all these great IT bloodhounds, has realized that, because they privately told him that, look, buddy, it's all very well, but, back down a bit. And since then, his tone has changed, and we can't deny that. Now, Suhail said, I don't think you or I don't think even Sushant Sareen, and I don't want to second guess General Bakshi, are here going to say, Sab theek ho gaya, we have won this arm wrestling match, and we have flawed Mr. Trump, and that's the end of it. No. We're saying that this is an opportunity, and had we taken the route that Rahul Gandhi was advocating, which is to publicly go out there, become a town crier and call Trump a liar, would have been catastrophic. It would have actually demolished 30 years and given Trump the entire excuse he needed to basically go apeshit, batshit mad on India. That's the word.
I won't mention names, but there are some panelists who are on multiple channels. So I don't know if this panelist was responding to comments made on another channel, because I didn't definitely talk about jingoism or nationalism. I said two things. One is India as a nation and Indians in terms of capability. A. B. It is no one's point that America has leverage. We're not stupid.
Yeah.
But did China succumb? No. Did Russia succumb? No. Do we have to succumb? No. Number three, it was one gentleman from the opposition, again, who shall remain nameless, who said India is a dead economy. My point is, I'm not suggesting jingoism, nationalism, but don't always belittle your country in order to be relevant. Be relevant through intelligence, not through creating a phobia which is ridiculous. That's my limited point.
Yeah, and clearly, Trump wants to do business with us because we're not a dead economy. Just today, another very important agency called Fitch has come out and said India is going to be growing at 6.9, almost 7%. Not my words, Fitch ratings, viewers. So Moody's, Fitch, the Indian economy this quarter grew at 7.8%. Jaws have dropped all over. Sushant Sareen and General G.D. Bakshi, let me bring you both into this. Sushant Sareen, first you. It's early days and we must not drop our guard. Trump is unpredictable. But there's no doubt that Trump's changing tone is an indication that perhaps he has realized that the United States needs to keep India close, at the very least.
Yeah, so Rahul, let's get a couple of things very straight. Are we in a tough spot? Yes, we are. Are we facing headwinds? Significant ones. And we will be in the middle of an eye of the storm if Trump is serious about getting the Europeans on board to impose sanctions on us.
Yeah.
Whether it happens or not, I'm not getting into that. But precisely for that reason, precisely for the reason that Sanjay Jha is giving these figures of $30 billion of exports to the United States are in jeopardy, precisely for that reason, should the Indian Prime Minister be doing chest thumping and saying, "Tu janta nahi hai main kaun hu, main tere ko dikha dunga," due to the language which Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Jairam Ramesh want him to use? Or should he keep his calm and respond when he thinks there is an opening and keep his calm but stick to his guns? That there are certain things on which I'm not going to compromise. On other things, yes, if we can find a middle ground, we will find a middle ground. Yes, if I want to open up and give zero tariffs to Trump because there is so much more I need to protect, I'm ready to do that, which apparently is part of the trade deal that has so far been negotiated. Now, this is what you have to do because for two reasons. One, the relationship with the United States is a very critical relationship. Whether we like it or not, it is a critical relationship.
True.
Not just economically, but strategically and otherwise. Okay? So you want to preserve that relationship to the extent it is possible to preserve it. And you don't preserve it by behaving like Pete Navarro. And incidentally, I might just add a sentence out here. I really think that the Indian Commerce Minister should also keep his counsel to himself and speak very openly on public forums against countries with which you are having trade deals and you are going to get into trade deals. He's already shot himself in the foot with the ASEAN countries and he's trying to do it again, for example, with Britain and some of the other countries. So please keep your mouth shut. I think everybody will be better off for it. Don't have to pretend that you are the greatest negotiator in the world. Take it easy right now. Okay? We are not in a very sweet spot. Having said that, I think diplomacy is all about trying to preserve critical relationships. Now, let me give you the example of China. We've had really tough times with China, but did we or did we not stick to our guns?
We did.
Did we or did we, without the Prime Minister ever bad-mouthing the Chinese leadership or President Xi, what did he do? He said, okay, fine, if the Chinese are bringing troops on the borders, we will do mirror deployments. If they are bringing in missile systems and heavy armor and artillery, we are going to take it out there. Don't worry about the cost, we will do it. We will build our own infrastructure. The previous administration, you had the genius A.K. Antony who said, we will not build any infrastructure. What if we build roads and the Chinese walk in?
Exactly.
That was mentality at that point of time. So I think it is important to, to tread carefully at a time when you are trying to balance yourself between competing forces. Now, I would go to the extent of saying even the relationship with Russia and China is critical.
Yes.
These are not Pakistan that you can say whatever because it doesn't matter. They bring nothing to your table, right? China is a critical relationship. We do $120 billion of trade, and a lot of that trade imbalance which is there is what helps us to produce goods to sell to other countries.
That's true.
Okay. So the point is that you have to look at it in a sensible manner.
Sensible.
And I would really counsel Sanjay Jha to stop constantly, doing the Goebbelsian kind of thing by saying that the Prime Minister was endorsing Trump in 2019. 1 year before the election happened in the United States, he was endorsing his candidature. Please go to the transcript of what he said. He did not endorse Trump. In 2020, he was talking about what Trump said in the 2016 election. That is the connection he was trying to draw. But if you want to keep repeating those lies over and over again and think that it will become the truth, that you are free to do that. It's still a free country. And finally, let's remember a couple of things. Because we have a very important trade relationship which we want to protect, we should go the extra mile to ensure that we do it. Now, if the Americans finally become bloody-minded and are wanting to impose sanctions on it, we will face that also. But are we going to do what that clown Menon, the foreign minister in the 60s used to do, go and shit on everybody and then come back because the whole world turned against India? Do you want to do that? Is that your model of foreign policy? Is that how you're going to conduct diplomacy? If the Americans are doing it, does this mean that we do the same thing?
Yeah.
So let us be careful and let us be a little sensible on how we are going to do things.
Yeah, exactly. I find
taking place.
I find the opposition viewers very reactive and extremely pendulum-like. They swing from one end because viewers, there's desperation. What does Rahul Gandhi want Mr. Modi to do? To stand up like Sheikh Chilli and say, "Tu jhoota hai, you're a liar." In fact, these are the exact words that Rahul Gandhi used in Parliament. Can you believe it, viewers? It's a leader of the opposition, a 58-year-old man.
He was right, Rahul.
He's not a 22-year-old.
He was right.
In some cricket match. Anyhow.
He was right.
No, that's,
because Donald Trump says that he
right?
brokered the military ceasefire.
Trump is,
and he's not
Trump is coming. One second, I want to bring in General Bakshi. Okay, one second, let others have their words, please. General Bakshi, look, I am not here trying to jump the gun.
Right.
But Prime Minister Modi has made some moves. The SCO's subtle SCO pivoting and his refusal to surrender India's strategic autonomy. Could that to some extent have forced US to recalibrate if nothing else? Just recalibrate, that's all.
Absolutely it has. Your outreach towards Russia, India, China triangle is what has forced a rethink in the United States. Look, 30 years of effort, diplomatic effort and energy have been expended on both sides to try and get India-United States strategic partnership, which was deemed in the interest of both nation states because of the perceived threat from a rising and very hostile China. That entire logic, I'm afraid, was thrown into the trash can, not by us, but by Donald Trump. Not just the trade and tariff, that is a symptom, right? Also, we fought a war with Pakistan in the month of May. And you go into a love fest with Asim Munir, twice he's been called, and there is all sorts of cooperation. And we find that American senior officers and American aircraft are flying in and out of Pakistan. I'm sorry, you can't leave that security calculus out. It is good that the atmospherics have improved. Rahul,
Yes.
Let's carefully note this. The atmospherics have improved. We should follow a quid pro quo policy with China, with the United States, with everybody else. We'll treat you exactly as how you treat us, right? You are nice to us, we'll be nice to you, etc. But I think we should not get into a bipolar disorder. Snarl now, start smiling. Oh, we got a half smile. No, it was a full smile. Well, wait and watch. We'd all hope for the best. We don't want needless trouble. We don't want to complicate relationships. As Sushant said, we've got a lot at stake, right? It is a critical relationship, can't be denied. But the simple fact is that let's look for substantive outcomes before we go on to cloud nine.
Yeah.
That's my limited point. Don't get into a bipolar disorder, absolutely morose and down in the dumps today, up on cloud nine tomorrow. No, please don't do that.
Absolutely.
Let's wait
that's
for
irrationality.
substantive outcomes to emerge.
That's irrationality. You're absolutely right. Sushant Sareen, I want to ask you this because someone like Sanjay Jha said that Modi's foreign policy has been a disaster. You have a very equipped, intelligent man like Shashi Tharoor who has been going out there and championing the Prime Minister's diplomacy, saying, and I've quoted him, I'm not making this quote up. He said that the PM's energy, dynamism and willingness to engage remains a prime asset for India on the global stage and deserves greater backing. So can you tell us, how is it that the Prime Minister has messed up? What are we supposed to believe?
No, I don't think, that's the tragedy. I would have hoped that the opposition was to make some sensible points, which, even if they were critical towards the government, would help the government take some other steps, which would actually pull us out of the storm we are in. But they are not doing that. So one day they say that, listen, what Trump has done is destroyed or is going to destroy the industry in Tamil Nadu. For example, the garment industry in Tamil Nadu and other parts of the world. The next day, the Prime Minister starts reciprocating something to Trump to try and bring the relationship back on the rails so that those people don't suffer. And they say this is a disastrous policy. What do you want him to do? Second, please look at how the Prime Minister is responding to Trump. Rahul, I've said this earlier also on one of your shows. Earlier, whenever he would talk to Trump or would tweet, he would say, my friend Donald, my friend President Trump, etc., etc. In the last two tweets, he's been very correct. He's talked about India-US relationship. He's addressed the US president as President Trump. Very, very correct. But he hasn't gone out of the way, this bipolar order, disorder which General Bakshi is talking about. He's not swinging. Now, if the Indian media is swinging from extreme left to extreme right, I don't think you can blame the Prime Minister of India or the government of India for doing something like that.
Yeah.
They are taking the straight and narrow path. They are ready to negotiate. They might, make a couple of more concessions which do not substantially hurt any important group in India, especially the farmers, the dairy sector, or some of the other sensitive sectors. But otherwise, they're open to doing a trade deal with the United States. Fingers crossed, if everything works out, things come back on the rails, great. If they don't, then yes, we will have to face that situation unless we want to grovel.
Obviously. Look, we've gone there before, we've been there before. General Bakshi, very quickly, and Sanjay Jha. Yes, very quickly, gentlemen.
I'm not referring to the Prime Minister when I talk of bipolar disorders. We've all seen He's been very balanced, very rational.
Yeah.
So kindly don't accuse me of something I have not said. I'm talking of the discussion in the media.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
It is the media
That's
which
what Sushant
is,
Sareen is also saying.
We are going
General
into
Saab, that's what Sushant Sareen is also saying.
So
Yeah, he's
so
also
now,
been saying.
Now
that.
I
Yeah.
wish to make a point.
Yeah.
I wish to make a point. Look, even when Joe Biden was there, we had problems with the United
True,
States starting.
we did.
Quite serious.
Yes.
You are with us or against us.
Yeah.
When the Trump administration came, we thought there would be a change. But it is back to that same. There seems to be a bipartisan consensus in the deep state.
Yeah.
So we'll have to play it very cautiously. We'll have to see the results, the outcomes, not the atmospherics.
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right there. I think we should move on because viewers have run out
Can I
of
make
time.
a short point, Rahul?
Yes, 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, I agree with what General Bakshi is mentioning here. He's mentioning strategic restraint, not getting carried away. And I want to give two examples. We are talking about America and Peter Navarro. Look at what the NATO chief said the other day. He made a similar warning on Russian oil. He was flexing muscles on behalf of the EU. And you have today the EU also talking a tough language. So we need to get a little practical and real here. India has a story. It is not enough in the global dimension.
Okay.
Let's be humble enough
viewers,
to accept that
the
reality.
the EU went groveling. In fact, if anyone, it was Giorgia Meloni who said to EU leaders that, look, guys, this is actually not quite working on. Viewers, I have tweeted at R. Shivshankar, you can have a look at it. I have tweeted saying don't trust Trump as far as you can throw him. I've even brought out his earlier statements and I brought out this EU point. But the fact is that the EU is also engaged with us to finalize a trade negotiation very soon, an agreement. So they're not going to exactly wag their tails just because Trump wants 100% tariffs, etc., etc. They have also a lot to lose. Half these EU nations need markets also for their products, mostly defense equipment and other stuff. So it's not, as they say, it takes two to tango, viewers, and we're not an insignificant economy anymore. Even China wants a share of our market, a pie of our market. So look, let's be realistic. Let's not become impetuous. I think the Prime Minister is doing a fairly good job at trying to manage expectations domestically as well as, of course, Trump's. So let's see where this takes us, viewers. It's an opening. Let's see if it actually leads somewhere. And as General Bakshi and Sushant Sareen are saying, judge a book by the written word, not the cover, written word inside. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's just move on.